What up, world? It's the Laugh Away from Home podcast, advocating comedy for mental health. And we're going to be showing you the gems through the process of the feeling, the healing, the planning, and the action. And I'm your auntie's favorite host, Worldwide Hugo. But today, we got a very special guest, the owner of Studio 26 Productions. We wouldn't even be able to record without him. My dog, stand-up comedian, actor, and entrepreneur, Doughboy, man. Y'all give it up for him, man. Give it up for him.
What up, my guy?
What's good? What's good,
man,
brother?
Blessed
What's
to be,
good?
man. Blessed to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
I appreciate what you're doing for the community and what you're doing for young black men trying to get on. Okay?
For sure, absolutely.
For sure. So where does Studio 26 come from?
We Studio 26, the number, because like I'm really like a big number person. I'm not like a numerologist or nothing, but a couple years ago I kept seeing the number 26. Like every time I would look at my clock, it'd be like 226 or I kept seeing 26. I was just like, why do I keep seeing this same number everywhere? And so then basically I Googled that. I was like, what does it mean if I keep seeing the same number? It was like basically if you keep seeing the same number, that's the universe's way of like trying to communicate with you. Like that's your angel number. You should look into it and see what it means. So I was like, okay, let me look into the number 26. And then the more I looked at it, I started to realize how big of a connection the number 26 had in my life. Like my daughter's birthday is on September 26th. I started doing comedy.
Stop right there. That was the one.
Yeah,
okay?
just off the rip.
That's
like,
crazy.
So her birthday is on the 26th. And then I started doing comedy when I was 26. And then if you add up the numbers of the year that I was born, because I was born in 1979. So if you add up 1, 9, 7, and 9, it equals 26. So I was just like, okay, this is kind of crazy, right? And so then I looked up like the angel number and what it meant. And basically it was like the angel number 26. It basically means like you're a very artistic person. You've been in the arts for a long time. Like you're going to be rewarded for all the hard work that you've been doing. And it's just like so many things that aligned with me. And then plus, since it was tied in with my daughter, which, shout out to my baby, Kiara Janae, I was just like, oh, well, this is what I need to name my company. So I said Studio 26.
I love that.
So yeah,
man. Because people sometimes you never know, man. 21 Savage,
exactly.
But yeah, 26, man. Yeah. Shout out to Studio 26 Productions, man. They doing a lot of great things, and absolutely. I will say, Studio 26 in 2026 might be that might be your real.
That's gonna be the breakthrough year. I've been saying. I was like, this is gonna be the year. 2025 is gonna be the year of abundance. 2026 is gonna be the year to take over.
Ooh.
So we setting it all up, and like that's why I'm glad to even be in business with you, because I'm starting to align like with a lot of the new energies and the new cats. I'm just like,
I love that.
And we're all like, and that's the thing I like, about working with you. Like every time I link with you, you got a new idea, a fresh concept, and like you remind me a lot of myself in that way. So I'm just like,
oh man, y'all
I'm
hear this?
Starting to put some things together and work with the, with the right individuals. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about it.
Man, I love that. Speaking of working with the right individuals, you know what I'm saying? We talked about 26, and that's in a year. But for right now, what's on the menu for 2025?
2025, a lot of stuff is going on, man. I'm working with big bro Nick Cannon, man. Shout out to Nick Cannon. He gave me my first break on Wild 'N Out, but now we're doing a new thing. I do a podcast with him weekly called The Daily Cannon Show.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? With
I saw that on your story, actually. Yeah.
So I work with him every week. Like, make sure y'all check that out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, working with him on that and a few other things that, he and I got in the works. And then just really building this studio. And so I guess it's like 3 different folds. So like, I'm really excited about the stuff that I'm doing with Nick and, all the stuff over there. And then building this studio, because I genuinely built this studio for people that look like us, that could have a place to come and create. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we all want to like start to get into content, do podcasts, do sketches, different stuff. Like nobody want to be shooting that at your house or having people. That's different. It's weird to have all type of energies in your house. So like, you know what I'm saying? I love where we're located. We're right on the Sunset Strip.
Everybody.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And so it was just really, really important to me to just be able to have a place where, we can create. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why I try to keep the prices as low as possible and just, you know what I'm saying? And not be so open to the public where I'm just entertaining anybody with it. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? We damn near got like a community of people here, and we collaborate, we work on different stuff. So I really want to take the studio to the next level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like currently we have, 3 rooms, 9 sound stages, a theater, but like we want to buy this whole building. Like we want to, kick these other tenants out, like, you know what I'm saying? And just have like sound stages over there, like editing bays over there. So I really want to just create a powerhouse. So that's the next thing I want to do. And then, outside of that, I'm really starting to get back into content. Like, you know what I'm saying? Last couple of years, kind of taking a little bit of
because that's kind of how you got on though.
Yeah.
You had like some. I remember Fat Drake.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, absolutely. So the content like never leaves me. So I want to get back into doing like what I'm saying, some podcasts with me on them as well. I really want to get back into sketch. I'm writing some shows for a few friends of mine. So what I'm saying, I really want this to be the year that I'm just. Working myself to.
So do you think like working with Nick Cannon and being a part of like All Def and bigger like production like just platforms, is that what motivated you to want to have a production studio of your own? Because I hear you saying you want to be able to create those opportunities, kind of like how people gave you. You know
absolutely.
What I'm saying?
No, definitely, because the first two people to give me jobs out here was Nick Cannon with Wildin' Out, and then with Russell Simmons, with All Def.
Boom.
And so being able to have deep dope conversations with both of them, I was able just to learn that ownership is key, content is key, like what I'm saying. So like it's very, very important for me at this season in my life to not just be a part of other people's visions, but to create my own and the different things and the creative things that I want to do. Like I gotta set it up and then just set up the play for the younger cats coming in, so I can be Nick Cannon and something. I could be like what I'm saying. I can start handing out opportunities. Yeah, and I really want to start to get like my Tyler Perry, my Keenan Ivory Wayans, my Robert Townsend on. I just think in our class of comedians, I mean, I know I'm a little bit older than you. I'm 45,
right?
But it's like we don't have a lot of people that will embrace that role. Everybody just wants to be the man, just because everybody wants to be the star. And at some point, we're gonna have to have some separation, and somebody's gonna have to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get behind the camera. I'm gonna write the script for the guys, or what I'm saying, or the girls, or whatever. So it's just really, really important for me at this point in my career just to embrace that phase of it. What I mean?
So I heard you talk about seasons, so we're gonna take a little turn. Like I said, we go through the seasons of life, and in Laugh Away from Home, we always talk about the feeling, the healing, the planning, the action.
Right.
And that's kind of like how you can have that's kind of a way to build your mental health back. That's a way to like address any trauma. That's like my way of how I go through a process of things. So in the fact of the feeling, I saw that you were a junior.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know your name. I looked you up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say your name, but you're a junior. So what's that family dynamic like? Like when you're already, as soon as you're born, you already got somebody's footsteps on you.
Right. It's a very dichotomous situation with that situation, because me and my dad aren't the closest. Like, what I'm saying? So,
and I figured that.
You know what I mean? So it's just, but it's like when you have the identity of another person just placed on your name, like, what I'm saying, and just kind of growing up, we had our differences, like, what I'm saying, like, like shout out, to my dad, like, he's still alive, I was living in Sacramento, like, but it's just, we don't always see eye to eye on things. And so like, that's really kind of like affected me in life, because, growing up, especially being a junior, I always wanted to have a great relationship with my dad. I just never did. Yeah. And so, but what it did for me though was, it really made me want to be a father and have a good relationship with my child. That
was my next question.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, how did that,
it was
like,
the biggest thing. Yeah.
How did the dynamic between you and your father affect you as a father? Because I know, me personally, we share that together. Like me personally, I don't have a real great relationship with my father, and my dad got 33 kids.
Oh wow,
22 baby mamas.
Ooh.
So like, for me to have one child, you know what I'm saying, I'm just trying to be a father, man. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If I don't do nothing else, I want to be there. I want to call you on your birthday. I want to be there for all the big stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a part of everything. Like, and I didn't get that growing up, and I feel like a lot of the reasons why I was like going against authority, or a lot of the reasons why I was like at it with people, was because like I was looking for that type of love, and anything that reminded me of it, I just didn't want to be a part of. Like my dad was a great baseball player, and I wanted to play basketball and play football instead of baseball, when I was really better in baseball.
It probably was in your genetics.
You get what I'm saying? But you grow up thinking like, oh, I ain't finna be like them whole time. That's why you are the way you are. You know what I'm saying?
The crazy thing is just being able to get older and just be able to learn about yourself. And then like the crazy thing is, because before you become a father, you can only look at life through the lens of being a son. Yeah. So then, you can just be like, man, you didn't do this, and you didn't, because you're a child and you're talking to your parent. But then when you become a parent, and then you realize that shit, I'm not perfect as a parent. Like, I've made mistakes. So then it almost lets me give a little bit more grace and understand, like, okay, like, my parents were young when they had me. Like, you know what I'm saying? My dad was 21, my mom was 18. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they were kids. Like, I couldn't imagine being a father at, 21. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he, you know what I'm saying? Like, he, you know what I'm saying? They had my sister before me. So, like, he actually became a dad, like, at 18. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? So, it was just, like, a lot just going on. So, it's just, like, it just kind of just made me just kind of learn and understand, like, okay, I can understand. But on the flip side of it and the positive side of it, me and my daughter are, like, 100%. Inseparable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're best friends. We talk about everything. And I just think whatever lack of the relationship that I had with my dad helped me have an amazing bond with my daughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I can see the good and the bad of it. And then for all the things that I could see that he did that maybe I didn't like, there was a lot of things that he did that taught me great things. Like, you know what I'm saying? He instilled the wrong and right factor in me very, very young in life. Like, taught me about the streets. Like, all right, nigga, you want to be tough? You want to get out? Niggas go to jail every day. So, like, I'm 45 years old. I've never been arrested. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
shout out to that black man. So it's just, I can't say that.
Just little things like that. Like, like, my dad had me having a paper route at 8 years old. So just a sense of work, and I've never been too proud to work. And you know what I'm saying? That was one thing that separated me from a lot of my friends in Sacramento, like, you know what I'm saying, coming up, because a lot of niggas like, I ain't working no job. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go work at Walmart.
And it was probably hard, too, because I seen that you dropped a couple albums, too. You was rapping and shit.
Oh, yeah, I was a gospel rapper, man.
You put yourself in a situation where you rapping, you supposed to have somewhat of an image. You're supposed to have
absolutely.
It together.
So, and so it's just, so there were so many great, and then he instilled, for me to have a good relationship with God, like took me to church when I was young. So just as you can get older, you just start to just realize, I can see the good and the opportunities for growth, but at the end of the day, you just appreciate people, for who they are. And, I know that all those things accumulatively brought me to where I am today. And if anything would have been any different, the world don't get this version of me. So I just learned to, be cool with it.
For sure. So at what point did you find out your talent aligned with your purpose?
I knew very young that I was supposed to be doing something different. I was really into music at first. Like, I started off playing drums in church.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. And then I started rapping and making beats. And so I was a gospel rapper.
You still produce?
Huh? I don't really make beats anymore. I still make music.
Okay.
So I still rap, but I haven't made a beat in
for sure
super years. I think just for me even kind of getting back to a cool space mentally, I might want to go back to doing it, because I just used to like doing it. It was just a fun thing to do, but I haven't made a beat in years. But I still record music or whatever. But I think once I realized my purpose and my talent level, I think right around 21. You know what? I would say no. We could take it back to 26. At 26, because that's when I started doing comedy, and that's when I think, because I came from Sacramento, it was like a rough, tough place, and like I never really wanted, even though I was rapping, like, and even after I stopped doing gospel rap and I started doing more secular stuff, even all of my stuff had like more of a bite and more of an edge to it, and like I never really was, even though I was always like the dude that was like making people laugh. I was never trying to be the funny guy, like that's just not. But once my daughter was born, and that was at a time where I was spending money to make these albums and wasn't making no money back. So this is a money flush. And so, I started doing comedy at 26. And the first time I did comedy, and the only reason why I did it was because my best friend, Justin, I owed him $300. And he kept telling me I'm funnier than people that then he would go to the comedy club and see. And so he was like, man, forget that $300 you owe me. Just go do this open mic at Laughs Unlimited. You ain't got to pay me back. And so I go up there.
Shout out to Justin, man.
Shout out my guy. I grew up with him, man, since I was 6 years old. And so I go up there and I do 5 minutes and everything changes. Like, I meet BT Kingsley that night. Shout out to my guy, BT Kingsley.
Shout out BT
He was
Kingsley.
The first person to tell me I was funny, you know what I'm saying? 3 weeks later, I do a comedy competition, win $1,500.
Win $1,500. You hearing what's happening right now? At 26, that angel number.
Yeah, and then 3 months later, they were doing like a comedy, not a comedy competition, they were doing a competition looking for TV personalities for a TV station out there. Yeah. And it was like a 12-week thing, and you get to do like these different challenges and different stuff with all these different contestants. I ended up winning that and getting a contract to be on TV. So then I was just like, okay, well, this is what it is. I'm supposed to. So
all
then
that
it was,
rapping I did.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about it is God is so dope to the point where at every big point of my career, music played a part. So the crazy thing was when I auditioned for Wild 'N Out, finally
You had that musical
the crazy
aspect.
thing, you know, because that was the thing, you know, because we used to watch Wild 'N Out, and you know, at my house with my daughter in her bouncy chair, and I used to just be like, I'm gonna get on that show. I was like,
I'm still saying that.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, we can make that happen. Trust me. I know a guy.
Hey, man, this why I'm here.
So you know,
You know why I'm here.
So the crazy thing was, right? So my whole mind state was, I'm a comedian. I'm funnier than the people on this show that can rap, and I could rap better than the people that think that they're funny.
Exactly.
And so the crazy thing that happened was in my audition, which I snuck into.
Bro, we're so similar. That's crazy.
So I didn't even have a manager or agent or nothing when I booked Wild 'N Out. You know what I'm saying? One of my homeboys, you know, he had told me where the audition was. I jugged in, like, you know what I'm saying, snuck in and shit. They let me audition. The audition was going cool.
I'm inspired.
I'm gonna give you the game, bro. I go in there. I never forget. That was the first time I seen Nick, you know, in person. He had the Dookie rope chain with the incredible hoodie. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is my idol. So they told me to do some stand up. I did some stand up. It did okay. I did like a joke. It did okay. Then they asked me to do an impersonation, which I never can do those, but I tried to do one of Charles Barkley. It was decent, whatever. Then they had me like play a game. It went okay. So I'm like probably operating at like a 70%. But then it came to the rap part. This is where faith and divine intervention comes in. So he was like, all right, though. He was like, well, you know, what you want to do, man? You know, you want to do something that you wrote, or you want to freestyle something? And I don't know what gave me the boldness to do this. But I was just like, man, I'm from Sacramento, bro. I'm going to just start rapping, and then you just start yelling out topics. I'm going to rap about whatever you say. And he was like, oh, you got it like that? And I'm like, yep. And so off of me doing that, and like he tried to really trip me up. Like the first thing he yelled out, he was like, fake Louis Vuitton. I was like, fake Louis Vuitton. You know you ain't a Don. You looking even worse with your fake Gucci purse. Like all off the top. And that's what booked Wild 'N Out for me. My biggest viral, one of my biggest solo viral videos is when I did the Fat Drake shit.
Come on now.
20 million views
That's
on
when
Facebook.
my first time seeing you.
You know what I'm saying? 20 million
And
on
I was
Facebook.
young.
And so, you know, that was that. And then, like, you know, then I ended up writing a sitcom with, you know, me and my bro, rest in peace, Teddy Ray, the studio.
Yeah.
That was about to get picked up. So the crazy thing about it is that, you know, even though the comedy was kind of like the thing that kicked it off, the music was always like right there and that was always my passion. So
I love that. So, just to piggyback a little bit off of that, do you feel like it was an easy transition, like just going from rapping to doing comedy? Like, was it natural?
It was natural because I think I was always naturally funny and I was always okay in front of people. And there's so many parallels between rapping and comedy. You know, a lot of rap is really based on being witty and having punchlines. Good comedians are witty and have good punchlines. Like, you know, it's a timing thing. It's a being able to, you know, read things. Like, you know, I used to do like a lot of battle rapping. In battle rap, you got to be able to look out in the audience and know what, you know, you're controlling a crowd. You can't just say whatever you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to, okay, I'm looking at this crowd. Okay, they're going to rock if I say this. The same thing like when we go out on stage and you looking in the audience. Okay, this is what they want. So there are a lot of parallels. And I just think that because from a performative standpoint, it was an easier transition than if I just would have started doing
trying to go up there.
And I always had the crutch of the music too, because when I first started doing comedy, I would do like a parody at the end.
Oh yeah,
this is back when 50 Cent was big.
It'll give you that little
and that's where I was comfortable. And I never forget the reason why I had won that comedy competition that I'm telling you about when I was only 3 weeks in was because 50 Cent song had just, you know, was big at the time, you know, around that time in the club.
Yeah.
And I did some Weird Al Yankovic shit on some fat shit and called it I Can Grub. And I was just talking about food and shit. And then I'm like 350 pounds at the time, and so I would rap the song and then take off my shirt like. There was no way you could compete with that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's jokes in the song. So.
Yeah, it's too entertaining.
And so, so it was just, you know, using that as my crutch, you know, in the beginning. So, for sure, it really helped me.
All right, so we getting into the healing part of we're getting into the healing part of the podcast, and this is where I ask you, what's your laugh away from home? I know it's a general question, but I in a way, like, what's your joy in the battlefield?
So my laugh away from home. So explain to me a little bit more what that means.
So, like, if I had to say my laugh away from home, like, my laugh away from home is the idea that I'm doing what I'm called to do. Even though I'm going through what I'm going through, the fact that I'm in my purpose, and a lot of it is ideally coming from my son. Like, Laugh Away From Home, the whole brand, I had to learn how to do comedy and be joyful and give joy out without being able to see my son as much as I wanted to.
Got
you
it.
know, even going through being through like my childhood when my dad wasn't there for me, I never wanted that for myself. And a lot of my career was having a notch like where I couldn't really get to a plateau because it's like, all right, I'm still running back trying to baby mama please. I'm still running back trying to make sure I see my kid every week.
Right.
I'm not taking opportunities that make sense because I got to get back for my week because I got custody and I got this and I got that. And it's like, you know, putting myself on child support, different things. It got me to the point where my laugh away from home was realizing that I'm so much bigger than what I was believing when it comes to what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
my laugh away from home is the fact that I can go out and give people freedom and I can give people an idea of a release. Like it's like
Gotcha. Okay.
comedy is my laugh away from home, but it's not just comedy. It's like the freedom that's in comedy for me.
Got you. I think my laugh away from home is seeing the growth and development of my daughter. And what I mean by that is my daughter's a sophomore now at Howard. I always wanted to go to college. I never really went to college. Like education wasn't really prevalent in my house. So, you know, like, you know, it's like they say, like, sometimes, you know, we want to live vicariously through our children. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I see her doing different things, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's on the dean's list. Like, she's running for Miss Howard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's just killing everything. And just to know that I had something to do with that. Like, that's my baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that, you know what I'm saying? And even in the whirlwind and like the confusion of the whirlwind, because, you know, the last couple of years, like, shit was getting real for me, you know, and I had my daughter out here with me full time, you know, her mom still lives out in Sacramento. And so, you know, just to still, no matter what I was going through and all of those crazy storms that I was going through, my kid came out unscathed. Like, she still sees the world for the dopeness as it is. And, you know, she's almost 20 now, and she, you know, she still has that innocence, that childlike innocence about her. So I think like that, to me, just makes me feel complete and whole.
So that goes into my next question, where like for people who are full-time parents and got their kids and got a career and obviously building the careers to a past the point, you know what I'm saying? You're doing all W with Nick Cannon. It's like, how are you balancing being a parent and trailblazing your career at the same time? Like what's the steps you're taking what's the steps you're taking to balance that process of how much you really have to do and sacrifice?
I always keep family first, you know. And you know, the crazy thing is, my daughter was living out in Sacramento because I came out here. I've been in LA since October 10th, 2009. So I just hit my 15-year mark a couple months ago. And you know, when I first left, you know, I had left for like a year, like, cause she used to, me and her mom stopped dealing with each other when she was like 2. But like, even when I was back in Sacramento, like, my daughter, I used to always have my daughter with me. So, you know, when I moved to LA, and like for that first year and I didn't have her, like, I was losing my mind. So then I had her come out here and live with me, and she did kindergarten. You know, her first year of school, I was like, you know, let me get her, you know, started. So then it was full time. She was out here with me, but then like I didn't have any support. I didn't have any babies because I'm very protective of who I would leave around. So it was just like, I was just really, really in a situation where I don't want to say I was putting my career first, but at the same time, after a year of her being here, she ended up going back. And so then, long story short, by the time she was in the end of 8th grade, and this was like when my career was kind of like going at one of its highest points, you know what I'm saying? And so it would have made all the sense in the world for me to leave her in Sac while I pursue this to financially secure her future.
Yeah.
But my daughter needed me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't give a fuck about none of this shit that much
right.
over her. So, you know, even in that time, I'm like, nope, send my baby out here. I got it. I figured it out. So I say all that to say that's how I always keep this thing in front of me, because I can walk away from all of this today if I thought it was ever going to affect my daughter in an adverse way. So as long as I keep her first, and, you know what I'm saying, like, keep things first, like in a family sense of scope, then it doesn't allow you to get too lost in this. It doesn't allow you to get caught in the Hollywood shuffle of what it is. So yeah, I would say that I just make sure that I keep family first, and then everything that comes after it makes it a little easier.
Facts. Okay, so boom, you used to be big though, boy.
Oh yeah, 486 pounds. 268 as of this morning. Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Now he medium big.
Yeah,
big doughboy,
extra
2X. So are you trying to get to little big doughboy?
I'm trying to get to 225. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
My girl, she liked me at my size now, but I'm just like, nah. I gotta. I had a goal from day one to get down to 225. You know what I'm saying? And that was a promise that I had made to Ted, rest in peace, before he passed. Like, that was always the goal. I was like, I'm gonna get down to 225. I'm gonna be a personal trainer because I've been dealing with obesity my entire life. You know what I'm saying? And I had to, matter of fact, what's today? This is crazy. The numbers are always crazy. Tomorrow marks the 10-year anniversary of when I got weight loss surgery. Because I was at 486 pounds, and on January 8th, 2015, I got weight loss surgery. So yeah, I'm down. I've kept off a little bit over 200 pounds. Yeah. For the last 10 years. So yeah, and to answer your question, yes, I got about 40, 45 more I want to get down to, and but it's no longer for vanity reasons. It's not to go clock no. It's like at this point, it's like I want to settle into the body that I'm going to grow old in for the next
Facts.
2-3 chapters of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. So that kind of goes into what I was gonna say too. Like, how does that aid in your confidence? Like with the weight loss journey. Like I know you said you dealt with obesity your whole life, and I haven't been obese my whole life, but I've definitely been the fat kid for most of my life. And I mean, now I'm not fat, but I know how to wear clothes. But it's like. I still am in a space. But you know what I'm saying? I'm still in a space where I would like to be like I'm 240 right now. My prime weight is like 205. That's when I'm walking around. That's when I'm like right when I cross Q. You feel me? That was a great time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? A smooth 35 pounds off. So what does that do for your overall confidence? Just being on camera and moving around and having to do stuff like that.
Let me tell you. I think the answer might shock you. It did a lot to me that wasn't necessarily great because I had built an identity and a character
that people loved.
The big guy. And then, you see people deal with this and, in their, the people that deal with the weight, like the Oprah Winfreys of the world or the Moniques or the Jonah Hills, and people almost start to be like, oh, I like you better when you're big, or ain't not as funny when, and so me, like, when I had booked Wildin' Out, I booked Wildin' Out when I was 33. And I was probably like 415, 420.
Yeah.
And so I was always, at least in my mind, I'm the big guy. I used to get all the fat jokes. I used to, but I was always the cool fat nigga that could get your ass back. And that's who I always was in real life. And then when I lost over 200 pounds, and then when I went back to Wildin' Out, it was funny because me and shout out to Nick. I just shot an episode of We Playing Spades with him, and we was talking about this on the episode. Make sure y'all check out We Playing Spades. It was me, him, Lewis Belt. Shout out to Courtney B. But basically, I felt like I had lost my superpower because I was no longer even the biggest person on the show anymore. That's crazy. And so I thought people didn't think I was funny anymore. I thought I didn't have fat jokes on myself anymore. I was very self-deprecating. Yeah. So that was like a negative part. And then the other negative part is I'll say something publicly now that I've never said. This is really what happens. Like, so how most people, if they feel like on some Mike Jones shit, like back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you almost feel like if people wasn't fucking with you when you was at your worst, when you get to your best version of yourself, you wouldn't be messing with them. Yeah. That wasn't me. I damn near went on like a revenge tour of all the chicks that wasn't fucking with me. Yeah. We knocked down 80, 90% of them. But like on some, but dogged them out type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like after I smashed, like, and
ain't no wall.
Oh yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? And then almost was just like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like almost on some hurt their feelings type shit. And it was just, and it really kind of put me in an energy that I wasn't really proud of.
Yeah, you was kind of lost a little bit.
I was lost, and I was moving with a dark energy to try to make people feel, when I should have just been happy moving on with my life. Mm-hmm. And then like, I just, and then even with getting weight loss surgery, it's like, I had the gastric sleeve. So basically what they do when they do that shit, they cut off 80% of your stomach. So you just can't eat food like that no more. You'll get sick. it'll come back up. And so the crazy part about that is that I didn't do the right thing. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't talk to anybody about why I might have been overeating, emotionally eating. And so then when all of a sudden I couldn't eat anymore, I felt like I was fucking going crazy because I couldn't do the one thing
because that shit make you feel good.
And then that's where, shit got murky and problematic. And then for a couple years, I had a real bad problem with alcohol. Then I had a transfer of addiction. Now instead of eating all the time, now I'm drinking all the time. Ended up in rehab 2 times and just and I never had a problem with alcohol before this. So I dealt with the good and the bad of it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, the good of it is, you lose over 200 pounds, you probably add 10, 15 years to your life. You know what I'm saying? Much healthier.
Yeah.
All those other things. You're not such a sitting duck for all the obesity related ailments. Yeah. But at the same time, I went through a lot emotionally that I really wasn't ready for. And I'm just kind of now coming out of the forest of the trees.
So we getting even deeper, and we in the healing part. So you're hearing how these questions going, and I'm glad you able to get it out. And I'm glad I'm getting to be the first person to hear some of this stuff.
These are exclusives. These are exclusives.
To be totally honest, I'm baffled. I'm proud of myself right now. But I do gotta ask, because you said Teddy Ray was one of the reasons why you wanted the weight loss journey. Y'all were on that kind of together.
Yeah.
So with him passing, how has that really affected you, and how has that molded the way that you are trying to get through the industry? Because I know losing a friend and losing a true best friend is different. So losing somebody that you can kind of see sometimes, but when you are moving around throwing your every idea off a person and y'all really are locked in like that, how did you cope with, and how are you still coping with?
Listen, man,
his passing?
I mean, first of all, just to show you how serious it is with me and Teddy, man, that boy is on my arm.
That's real friendship
on the flesh,
Come on now, and that's a good tattoo, y'all. That ain't the statue outside of the heat.
If you ever come to Studio 26 Productions.
So speaking of the weight loss, and you already said it, that Teddy Ray was one of the reasons why you wanted to do the weight loss. I gotta ask you, being that y'all were really close friends, and it's hard to lose a real, true friend, how have you been coping with, getting through not having that person, your person?
It's been very, very tough, man. And, that was my little brother for real, man. I got, Teddy Ray tatted, on the flesh, you know what I'm saying? So it's real love. If you ever come to Studio 26 Production, I got a whole Teddy Ray room that we don't record. It's just
and it's beautiful.
Pictures, It did something to me. It altered me in ways that I still haven't really truly recovered from, because it wasn't just that we were just friends and he was, truly my best friend. It was more to the fact that was a commonality and a bond that we had. A lot of people don't know, when Russell Simmons handpicked us, to when he was starting All Def, he came to us. He said, man, I know y'all two niggas gonna be superstars, but we need to get your health in order. So we did a show called Teddy and Doughboy Blowing Up about us losing weight. What I'm saying? So this was something that, and it was something that was very, very important to both of us. And so, for me to, to lose a bunch of weight, but then to, in the interim lose my friend, you know what I'm saying? And it just, it fucked me up, dog. You know what I'm saying? But it made me, because I went through bouts of depression, behind this shit. There were days where, bro, I still haven't figured out a way to deal with grief. And he's the closest person that I've ever, lost. But, what I have learned in, the couple years of him passing is that, I know that he would want me to live stronger for him. You know what I mean? And,
right.
And just because he's gone doesn't mean that I get to bail out on when I gave my word. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, oh no, I'm going to finish this and I'm going to do this to honor my homeboy.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, a lot of people don't know this about me, man. I genuinely believe that in addition to whatever I'm going to be doing, comically and entertainment-wise, I low-key want to be a personal trainer. I want to get down to my goal weight, and just because I want to be one of those people, because when you go to
you would have never thought.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying? I've been, big my whole life, you know what I'm saying? But I'm one of those people that probably understands obesity better than most people. You know what I'm saying? I've done literally everything.
You called it your superpower.
Absolutely, yeah. I know about it. I know what it is. And it's just I would love to be a personal trainer for people that are going to sign up for weight loss surgery, because when you sign up for weight loss surgery, they make you lose weight anyway.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get them and just say, oh, let's just keep going. You don't need to do this, because the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is you're going to have to deal with the mental and emotional side of your unhealthy relationship with food. Yes. Either way. And if you think that them cutting you on a table is going to fix your head, it's not.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, and if anything, it could really drive insanity, because, listen, for as many beautiful things that I could say about weight loss surgery, like, it's very tough to be, in my mind, it's still the same. Like, I still order like a 400-pound nigga.
No,
like, if we go to eat, like, I'll still order the biggest steak, but I can only eat 3 bites. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's the mental anguish of what it goes through. So I would love to kind of be that conduit to help people. Like, before you make this life-changing decision that you don't get to reverse,
right,
let's just give it a year and see what we can do. So that's really something that I have a thirst and a desire to do outside of, you know, all this other stuff. And to even know, you know, and to even, you know, dive deeper into mental health. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't know this. Like, I've just gotten comfortable enough, you know, about it to even talk about it publicly.
That's
but, you know, I got, you know, during the pandemic,
that's my next question.
You know,
You've been doing this to me all night.
You know, during the pandemic, things happened with me, man. Like, you know, I just wasn't feeling like myself.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it. Like, I couldn't sleep. Like, I couldn't. So I'm going 3-4 days without sleep. I'm saying things and
getting in a manic state. Yeah.
People like, nigga, are you okay? Like, you know, this is at a time where I wasn't drinking at all. So they were like, nigga, have you started drinking again? I'm like, no. Like, I was, you know, having self-harming thoughts and couldn't tell you where it was going. And this is where I knew it was a problem, right? So this is like, you know, during the pandemic, you know, it was like around May in the pandemic or whatever. And I was just up for like 2.5 days. Like, maybe got like 3 hours of sleep in that 3 days, right? And I just had like this bunch of ideas. So I had like this whiteboard in my house, and I had just been writing out a bunch of ideas. Like, it just almost looked like, what's going on? And I'll never forget, I was in the house, and I had this particular Fitbit on, and I'll never forget, I was just walking around, and I was just pacing around the house. Hadn't left the house.
Yeah.
Looked down at my watch, and I had like 32,000 steps by just pacing around.
In the crib.
So long story short, you know, people in my life, they're like, yo, man, like, can we check you in so some people can talk to you? Like, you're alarming all of us. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, you know, and I kind of knew something was wrong. But the crazy thing is, like, I have such a split family. I don't know, like, any of the men on my dad's side of the family, because he didn't have a relationship with them. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, and I wasn't really close to any of the men or just people on my mom's side either, but I knew mental health was prevalent on both. Long story short, check into, you know, a place, and within probably like 30, 40 minutes, they're like, oh, yeah, you're absolutely bipolar.
Yeah.
How did you not know? And I'm just like, mind you, I'm 41 at the time, and I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So then they're just basically telling me like what it is and how it's an emotional, you know what I'm saying, based type of thing. And so that was like kind of like really like the changing point of my life, because now you got people telling you got to take medicine for the rest of your life. You got to, you know, and this is, you know, you look into bipolar, it's a serious thing. Like, you know, it's not something that is a light kind of a thing.
I think I might have a slight bit of it. Like, and I, like, we share that same, experience, like the whiteboard thing, the days of being up and the manic state. Like, bro, I remember creating something that I was calling a rotational. I was creating a concept of rotational momentum, and I kept saying like, oh. Like you could see all of the shit that I was writing was going somewhere, but it was all jumbled and it had nothing to do with, like, if you weren't right there listening to me,
you think you was looking at some wild shit.
You looking at that shit like it's witchcraft.
Right.
You like, bro, it's equations, codes.
But see, this was the wild thing about it though, right? This didn't feel so. It wasn't the first time I had felt like this. I guess it was just the first time it was freaking everybody out.
Yeah.
I remember there were times where some of the best stuff I've written. I remember one time I got mad and I was working at All Def and I was supposed to be getting a raise and and I was like, oh, I was like going against all the other writers. And I'll never forget, like, I had locked myself in my apartment for like 3 days. I came back, I had 90 pages of content, like, but it all made sense. It was cohesive. It was some of the best stuff that I wrote. So even in some of those manic moments. I had created some of my best work, but long story short, it was a very jarring experience for me to be diagnosed as bipolar because, in our community, just it's black folks. Like a lot of people don't really.
How long were you in the facility?
5 days.
5 days.
So,
See, when I went, I was there for 14. Mine was different. I was substance-induced psychosis. So I had like a whole different. But at the time, like I was doing shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was living a life that had me in the streets, and I was up all day because I was like feeling paranoid about somebody doing something to me. But it was genuinely actually happening, and the fact that I was up that long triggered with what was going on, and it created a situation where like I started lashing out. Like it was like
I was tripping, bro. Like,
yeah,
I was, and then the crazy
14
thing is,
days, bro.
But see, this is the thing. I went on a voluntary.
Yeah, it's different.
But then I realized
you can't just leave though.
It's not a voluntary walkout.
It's over with.
And I just remember being in there, and I was like, "All right, man. Like I hear what y'all. Can I go home?"
And your time start over every 72 days.
And then that's the thing, and that's the same thing. It's like if they would have like hit me with a 5150, now you can't go home. And like that was such a scary feeling. Like,
and they did not let me go home. Like, bro, I remember pissing on myself, being strapped to the chair, trying to think I was crazy, and I was like, "Damn, like this shit feel crazy." I'm like, "Damn, I really gotta pee. They not gonna let me pee." End up having to piss on myself, bro.
I seen some things, and like, I don't know if you see anything in it, but I seen some things in that place that
bro.
There
was this lady pulling her hair out and throwing water on people the whole time. Like she would literally like come up to you and take her whole thing of water and throw it on you and just start talking in tongues. And like I remember the first day it happened to me, I flipped out, and everybody used to it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like they can see it coming and moving out the way. Me, I'm just in there like I just went through this. I was just strapped to a chair, and now I'm dealing with this lady that just threw water on me. I'm tripped out. They got me back in the chair because they like, he's aggressive.
I never forget like I'll never forget. It was this dude. He was a patient, but he was a doctor.
Yeah.
And he was like, I guess something had happened, and he had ended up in there. He was like, "Let me the fuck out of here. I'm a doctor. I know my rights. You can't keep me in here."
Yeah.
And then the lady behind it, she was just
they
the
turn
black
your ass
lady.
to a vegetable.
She said just like this. She was like, "Oh, that's what you feel." She's like, "Oh, you think you going somewhere?" She was like, Two dudes came from behind him. One put that needle in his arm. He's just like this,
bro. I was so aggressive. I was so aggressive so many times. I was there for 14 days. When my mom came to get me, bro, when everybody in my family finally found where I was at and they was understanding it, bro, they was I remember them saying, "Hey, you about to leave?" And I'm like, "Nah, I got a game that I'm supposed to." Like, it was a basketball gym in there. I'm like, "Nah, I got a game at 3:00. Like, I'm supposed to be playing these niggas."
You just settled in now.
I'm like, nigga, I'm in a whole tournament.
Right.
I'm in here.
I can't let the team down.
These niggas think I'm LeBron. Like,
cooking these niggas.
You feel me? So it's like to have gone through that, and then like I went through that in a city where I was known. So I was Jugo still, but I was like the Q dog throwing parties. I was known for, putting on like festivals for music. I was making music. I was in all the studios. So like I had to really rebuild who I was and publicly address the humiliation.
Imagine doing this in the public eye. Like, this is at the height of
wilding
whoever
out
Doughboy
and
has. Like
everything.
I was doing.
Now.
I just got back off being off tour. Like, and then and then you start running into people and they know what happened. You didn't tell them. So now it's just like, okay, now it's starting to get around. Now people are. Now you almost gotta say something, and then
because they like, why you ain't telling me you
exactly. And then niggas look at you like to this day. Sometimes when I tell people bipolar, I just wait and I just look at them, and every time I was like, yeah, man, I'm bipolar. Niggas are just like as if I'm about to just snap on you right now, or you gonna catch it, nigga. You can't catch this, nigga. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So it was really one of those things, and then it started to like make me feel like ashamed, like I didn't want people. And then it got to the point where it was just like, you know what though, because like I said, I come from a background of ministry and being in church, so then it's just like maybe all of this is bigger than what I thought it all was.
That's kind of what I was saying earlier.
It wasn't just to get on and show niggas I was funny or that I could rap. Maybe I was supposed to be the person that God chose that was like, I know you can deal with obesity. I know you can deal with alcoholism. I know you can deal with mental health. And I know that I could take you apart, put you back together, and you could be, because like a lot of times, like ever since I've been, because I think I've been public with it now for like maybe like a year or two.
Yeah.
Like I'll get DMs from like mothers of of teenage boys, like, thank you so much
Yeah.
for talking about, you know what I'm saying, you're bipolar, my son's bipolar, like, he's a huge fan of yours, and you know what I'm saying, him knowing that, him seeing you do what you can. So then it starts to make me feel like, okay, like, I'm affecting the world
In the right ways.
in a more positive way. And the things that we think are going to ruin us and tear us apart could be the things that, you know, change us and elevate us and help us help people.
So let me segue into that. You said doing your part. What legacy are you trying to leave as Doughboy, the brand, and like just the whole Studio 26 Productions?
It's that, man, you could be whoever you want to be. And it's really up to you. Like, we live in a world, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't supposed to be here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have such a traumatic past. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I even start talking about some of the things in my childhood, you'd be like, nigga, what?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a young, you know, chubby nigga from Sacramento that had a dream. And, you know, and I just put it in my mind of what it is that I was going to do. It's like everything that I said that I wanted to do, I've done it. So that's my biggest message to people out there is like, whatever it is that you want to do. And I don't care what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can do what, if you want to do it, put it in your mind, write it down on a piece of paper, look at that piece of paper every day, write down the actionable steps that you need to do, because this world, like, you know, and like, that's like my biggest fear is to whenever the game is over or whenever the curtain closes, that I'm just sitting there like, damn, I could have, or no, like, I'm here to leave every bullet out this gun.
Yeah, I always say it's 3 R's to what you're talking about. Research, resources, and relationships.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's them 3 can take you a lot of places. Going into it though, like, how was it, you know, transitioning from being a worker on the different platforms like Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out and All Def with Russell Simmons? Like, how was that transition from you being a worker on projects to actually being a boss and having to deal with being the person that was employing people or creating the delegation?
I think it was so much of an easier transition because I had such good role models. Nick is like, he treats the janitor the same way that he would treat 2 Chainz. Okay. Like, he's just so equal and across the board. And Russell was the same way. Like, and so like just to be able to see how they navigated and delegated things. They were always fair. They didn't talk down to people. And I never felt like I was working for either one of them. I always felt like I was working with both of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think I was always having on the job training to, like, it's almost like, you know, when you see a football player and they're a football player, but then all of a sudden they're a coach. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's like, that's just what I feel like. I feel like because I had such good coaches that it was inevitable for me to be able to do this.
100%.
But I always like lead first with I'm an artist first. So like, even with like the way that I run my business, like, I'm not here to get over on niggas or play, because at the end of the day, I know I'm an artist and
you can create it again.
Exactly. And I know that, you know, anything that I've been a part of, that I've helped create, I could create something 10 times bigger. You just have to be able to dream it big enough. You know, like I tell people this all the time, like, you know, in everything that I asked God for and everything that God gave me for, my only regret, if I have any, is that I wasn't more specific and I didn't ask for enough. Yeah. Like, I just said I wanted to get on Wildin' Out. I wish I would have said I would have been on Wildin' Out for 20 seasons and, you know what I'm saying, to make $10 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to, you know, so now I'm very, very specific about the goals I want. I'm like, I want to make $100 million after taxes. Yeah. That means I got to make like 246 gross. Like, I know what it's going to take. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, and then I just start to just be very, very intentional about, you know, the things that I do and how to get them, because I feel like if you don't have a target, you're going to hit that non-target every time. So I just try to be very specific about my goals.
Got you. So, you know, I hear you, like I said, I heard you talk about Russell Simmons and Nick Cannon. If I told you to pick 3 of your inspirations, are those 2 of them, or do you have 3 other people?
No, those would definitely be 2.
So who would be a third?
Who would be my third motivator? I would say, are we talking about like just professionally? Yeah.
Okay. Oh well, it doesn't. It could be the guy on the street that tell you a good story every day.
I got you. Okay, I'll do this. I would say BT Kingsley. And let me tell you why with BT Kingsley. BT Kingsley.
Shout out to BT Kingsley, man.
He has
super dope host, by the way.
Oh, one of the funniest guys in the game.
If you ever go to Chocolate Sundays and you get to witness him host or feature or whatever he does in there, it's gonna be amazing. By the way,
he's a beast, and you know, outside of him being the first person to tell me I was funny and kind of take me through the ropes of learning how to tell a joke, set it up, all those other good things. He has a tattoo on his back. Sorry, BT. I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm pretty sure you can be without your shirt sometimes. But it says
on his back.
It says Mr. Manifest Destiny. Because he and I used to be roommates. When we first moved out, we were roommates for like 2 years.
Thanks for giving us the context. I was gonna say y'all went swimming.
So it said Mr. Manifest Destiny, right? But like he was always so very. He knew exactly what him and Nate Jackson. Like so I'll kind of put it as 1A, 1B. Like they both knew exactly, because I met both of them back like in 06, 07. You know what I'm saying? And like they knew back then, like, it takes 10 years of, of being in your trait to say that you're decent at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So they were saying this back in 07, 08. Yeah. So just to see them kind of do everything. And then I remember when me and BT were roommates, he was like, all right, man, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to really get on doing commercials. Yeah. He was like, I'm gonna take. He would take all the commercial workshops. He would, he would link up with all the other dope commercial niggas. Now I can't watch TV without seeing BT on a commercial. Like Nate Jackson knew he wanted his own comedy club. So the fact that he has his own comedy club, and like I remember when Nate used to have his car wrapped with his face on it. So those are two of the dudes that I seen be very intentional about exactly what they wanted, and then they got everything they wanted. And more. Like, shout out to Nate Jackson. He's about to shoot his Netflix special in a couple of weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
big
just like,
body shit.
And these are my guys. Like, these are the guys that I came in the game
Shout out to Nate Jackson because he a cute dog. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, I would say that, those are my 4 inspirations.
Bet. There it is, man. So, we going into the action portion of everything, and that was just the planning. But what does Studio 26 Productions, like, what all does it have to offer, and what do you see for the Studio 26 Productions in 5 years?
We do a little bit of everything. So if you have a podcast, we got you.
Obviously,
we shoot. We shoot the stuff. Got some of the best rates in the city. Only $150
no cap
an hour, and we get you your cuts and your edits within hours of when you're done. So if it's a podcast, we can do that. If it's if you want to do a live comedy show, we have a theater.
I got a show with To Hear More, who I'm interviewing next. But that's March 28th. At Petty Cat Studios in the room over here.
Right across
We're
the
gonna
hall.
have 52 people. It's free food with Chef Mello. Shout out to Chef Mello, and we about to taste some. Shout out to I don't even want to say that. That was crazy. I was going to say some crazy shit. We gotta edit that out.
But yeah, we do that. We also have a green screen, so if people ever need to shoot with that. We have a gamer room, so if people like to play video games, they want to do some streaming. We have voiceover capabilities, so if people got voice auditions and things that they need to do. We have a fully functional music studio, so we can record music here.
Yeah.
Anything, we can do sketches here. Anything that you want to do in the creative space, we have it here. 24/7 access. I live 2 miles down the road, so
gotcha.
You know what I mean. So we're here to just whatever you want to do creatively. We're here for you.
Hey man, I'm down. Y'all gonna see me do a couple of things in here.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm
We
gonna be
build,
shooting my podcast. I'm finna have a whole event here in March. Hopefully by March I can have my every week little open mic where they can get. Okay.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I wanted to give you some flowers.
Oh, okay, man.
And I appreciate, what I'm saying, because what I appreciate about you. First of all, I love your hustler's mentality. Sure. I when I met you, what I'm saying, a few weeks back or a month back, whenever we met on the show.
Oh yeah,
podcast,
about a month back. Yeah.
I could just, I'd like to think I can get a pretty good read on people pretty quickly, just because I'm around so many. I'll be around killers and I'll be around doctors, like what I'm saying. So I just kind of know what I'm dealing with really quickly. Just the fact of just how you haven't been doing comedy for a ton of time, but you could tell you're a student in the game. You could tell you're serious about your stuff. You can tell you're serious about your craft. So I always respect that. But more than anything, when you came to patronize the business, you patronized the business. Like, you would be amazed how many. You didn't ask for no hookups. You didn't say, "Hey man, can if I get 3 hours, can I get the 4th hour free?" Like, because niggas don't understand. Like, it's so hurtful to create a business and then just all your friends want you to hook them up for free. Yeah. It's like, and so just the fact that you just even patronize the business, like, I just want to tell you, just thank you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't get
Thank
a
you,
lot
black
of that
man.
in the city. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just something as simple as coming and patronizing the business. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I already hold you in a high regard. Like, you can even tell, like, when we was with, you know what I'm saying, Seaboy, you know, the other that's like, I rock with this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like,
sure.
and then, you know, and then what that does is, like you said, like, it's resources, it's you know, I forgot, you know, you said research, you know what I'm saying, and relationships. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then it kind of just makes me even more inclined to just, oh, well, thank you. And if there's a door I can open for you, like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you would just, a nigga gave me some of the best advice that I ever had back in the day. He said, Doe, don't ever underestimate the power of just being a cool nigga.
Yeah.
And sometimes just being a cool nigga, it'll get you in places that you know, I've seen niggas get taken off of gigs while niggas was casting because niggas like, I'm not going to be on set with that nigga for 2 weeks. But sometimes if you just be a cool nigga,
Yeah.
it just opens up different doors and creates different type of relationships. So I just want to give you your flowers, man, for just being a dope nigga and like always having fresh ideas every time we talk and like you serious about what you're doing. But then also, you know, for patronizing my business, man.
Hey, man.
I ain't got no ton of customers. I'm a
saying?
small business
I got a little chip to spend. If I can put my chip in the bowl, you know what's going on. But so this is almost the wrap up part, and I was about to say this would be a good time to probably heat that up to give it to him because I'm gonna randomly throw that in there.
For sure.
We'll cut that part out.
The chicken is microwave right there.
Yeah, you can heat both of them because I'm gonna act like I'm eating mine too. I don't even think we had is it utensils right there?
There's some utensils over there, some forks over there.
All right, man. So this is the cutout part where we got Chef Mello because I got some sponsors that want to come through and put a little something and a little spin on it. So everybody that comes to Laugh Away From Home podcast, you will leave with a meal from Chef Mello D. Okay, and today I'm gonna have the salmon. He gonna have the chicken tenders, rice, and I think broccoli and something like that.
Cabbage, I think.
Cabbage. Okay, bet. So check. Look, this is how it's gonna happen. If y'all need somebody to meal prep, we got the person. If you need somebody to come to your events and do a whole shebang, we got them. If you need somebody that got a date night, we got him. Okay, Chef Mello D. Make sure y'all at him on Instagram, Chef Mello D TV. He's a dope guy. He's a California native. I met him in North Carolina, so guess where he is worldwide. But we're gonna try this food when it come in here in just a second. But cut. For the action, I got this little part that I'm gonna do for everybody that comes to the podcast, and you're my first guest, so I gotta shoot you.
Hey man, I feel good.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm special.
Yeah, you should be. This is my first podcast. You my first guest.
I'm with it.
You know what I'm saying? The podcast at your studio, I feel like that's kind of how you pay it forward. You
Right,
know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I want you to pick cry or shit talk.
Cry or shit talk? Mm-hmm. I'm an emotional nigga. Let's do cry.
Bet. So because you picked cry, I need you to apologize on camera to someone you never apologized to.
Okay. All right. Well,
You could have picked shit talk.
I could have. Okay. Who do I owe? Okay. Like a specific person, not a group of people?
You can do it. Do the apology. Hey, get your apologies out, sir.
Okay. I'm going to say this. I would like to apologize. This would be a blanket apology.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to apologize to anybody that I ever called, because there was, like I told you, there was a time where I was knee deep in addiction of alcoholism.
Yeah.
Anybody that, you know, and that was like one of my things. I would just get drunk and just start going through the phone and not knowing what the hell I'm talking about. So anybody that I ever called and just may have just said anything, just wild, or just you know, out of pocket from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. And with the best apologies that I always feel that I can give is corrective behavior, I've done the necessary work to make sure I don't do that. But, you know, sometimes if, you know, you get drunk and it says something stupid, you might have hurt somebody's feelings, you know, you might have made somebody feel a certain type of way. My bad. So, yes. To anybody that I may have ever offended under the influence of alcohol.
Is there a name floating to the top of that?
I figured you was going to have to maybe play at least one name on it.
It gotta be one name where you're like, man, I definitely didn't do what I was supposed to do with that. So
Okay, yes. Okay, let me just think.
I mean, we expecting this to go super viral, but it probably ain't gonna do that bad. You got some time to get.
Okay, there is one young lady that I will say, and I can put a name on it. Her name is Monique. Was a, you know, a woman that I dated back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of history, and I didn't handle her the right way. You know what I'm saying? And I would think that, you know, I could honestly admit in my growth that I let alcoholism really ruined that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So, and it was a lot of it stemmed from drunk doubt. You know, shit that I'm saying. So, to Monique, you know who you are. You know what I'm saying? My bad from me to you.
Bet. Well, that's that on that.
You know, I said put shit talk. Shit.
That's that on that. This was the Laugh Away from Home podcast, advocating for comedy and mental health. This was my special guest,
Doughboy.
Oh, my bad. Was I supposed to?
No, it's all good. I didn't know. No,
Oh, yeah, my
pause a
bad.
little bit. Do I get to eat some of this food on camera?
Oh, hell yeah.
I
thought he was gonna bring it in at some point. Well, let me get the conclusion out.
Okay,
or maybe I should eat the food with the conclusion.
We
right?
can eat on the way out.
Yeah. That's
like
right.
an
Like food for thought.
Yeah.
Hey, Chef Melody.
Chef Melody, man. Y'all
Come on, man. This is not Chef Melody at all. This is Important Jordan, a very funny comedy actor, comedian, actor, specialist, writer. He does all that. Y'all see what's going on?
Great.
You see what's going on? I don't even know if y'all can zoom in on that.
You see that little steam
See
on
what
that
happens when you care about yourself?
And it looked like broccoli. You're right. It was broccoli.
Come on,
okay,
man.
let's see. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
This is brown rice that don't taste like paper. It's seasoned up.
So, on my podcast, Laugh Away from Home, not only are you going to get food for thought, but you're going to leave with some.
Food for your body.
You get what I'm saying? And I got merch for your body.
Oh, man.
Worldwide shirt from Worldwide Hugo. This is my stand-up comedy merch. And every time I get in contact with anybody who's worldwide, I feel like they should have one. And, sir, I genuinely feel like, Doughboy, you are worldwide, my brother.
I appreciate you, man. And you are as well. I am so honored to be your first guest on your show. I know this is going to be the first of many collaborations that we have. And y'all heard it from me first. Young boy got next up.
Y'all heard it.
Put your money on him. And make sure you get some of this because this is fire.
Chef Melody.
And it's healthy.
You heard what he said. And that's that on that. I'm your boy, Worldwide Hugo, your auntie's favorite host. And this is Doughboy. And you've been a part of the Laugh Away from Home podcast. And remember, before I go, it's already all right.
Get away from home and laugh.